Okay, today what we're going to be doing is finding what the percent of a whole number is, okay? Percent is part of a whole. So when you're doing these problems, you need to think of it like this. If I had to find 20% of $100, I need to find how much of the $100 20% is, okay? So again, if I were to get 20% of $100, so think of this as a $100 bill, I get 20% of it. We need to find out how much money that is, okay? It's kind of how that is part of a whole. So a percent means a part of a whole. All right, so in these example problems here, you're going to be finding percents of whole numbers. So let's say I'm going to put money labels on that. So if you get 20% of $600, you want to find out how much money that is, okay? So here's a procedure. You need to divide your percent by 100 so it becomes a decimal. So I take 20 divided by 100, okay? Okay, 0.2. And then I need to multiply by my whole. So I multiply by 600. And that's my answer. So 0.2 times 600, 120. So if you get 20% of $600, you get $120. Okay, 2% of 95. So again, divide. That's not going to be very much because 2% is remember 100 is the whole percent, okay? So divide your percent by 100 so it becomes a decimal. So take 2 divided by 100, or you can move the decimal, so 0.02. And now I operate by multiplying by 95. So 0.02 times 95, and that's 1.9. So that's going to be $1.90. That's how much you would get of the $95. So not very much of it. Okay, 16% of 36. Okay, so again, I divide my percent by 100 so it becomes a decimal. 0.16. And then I multiply by my whole. So I'm going to multiply by 36. 5.76. So I get $5.76 because think of that as $36. Okay. The next problem, I need to find what 43.5% of $225 is. Okay, so first, this fraction has to go. So I'm going to make a little box and divide 1 by 2. So 0.5, but instead of 0.5, we had a 43 there. Okay, 43. So instead of 0.5, we need to write that as, so don't write the 0, write 0.5, and then instead of 0, you're going to put 43. Okay. Okay, so it's 43.5. Okay, now after that's done, so now you have 43.5% of $225. That's a little extra step you're going to have to do. Divide the top by the bottom, but you need to put the whole instead of the 0. So you still have to divide the percent by 100 so it becomes a decimal. So 43.5 divided by 100 is 0.435. And after I've divided my percentage by 100, I can multiply by 225. So $97.87, but the next digit's a 5, okay? Now, if that third digit's 5 or more, it becomes $97 and it goes to 88 cents. So 97.88. Okay, my next problem, divide your percent by 100 so it becomes a decimal. I've crossed out the fraction on that one, so we don't need to make that little box, okay? 0.62. And the of course, means I'm going to be multiplying by 120. So 0.62 times 120 is 74.40, because that's $120. So my answer is 74.4, but it needs to have a 0 there, so I always have 2 digits after the decimal. Okay, now first I have to make my fraction. Okay, I've got 1/4, so I got to take 1 divided by 4. So write 0.25. Don't write the 0 though, because instead of 0, you're going to have 65. Okay, now rewrite the problem. So now it says 65.25% of $12. Okay, so again, I divide by 100, so it becomes, you always have to do that. So 65.25 divided by 100, so 0.6525. And then multiply by your whole. Okay, I got 7.83, so $7.83. Okay, next problem. 33% of $39. Okay, there's no fraction here, so I don't need the little box, so I need to divide the percent by 100 so it becomes a decimal. So 33 divided by 100 is 0.33 of, so I'll be timesing by 39, okay? Okay, $12.87, okay? And that's how much money you would get to keep. If I say you get 33% of 39, that means part of the whole. 100%'s the whole. Okay, I got a fraction here, so we need to take 1 divided by 2 first. We need to rewrite this problem without the fraction. So 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. But I just write 0.5 because I need to replace the 0 with 47. Okay, so I got right 47. Rewrite your percent. You still have the percent of 17. And now I can divide my percent by 100, so it's a decimal. So 47.5 divided by 100 is 0.475. And then multiply by your whole. So 0.475 times 17 is 8.07. So you got $8.07, but then we have a 5 right there, so it goes to 8. Okay, 8.08. A little bit less than half. Okay. I need to get some story problems that you'll be able to see. Okay, here it is. Okay. The trip between 2 towns is exactly 90 miles. Miles is what that should say. Okay. You have gone 40% of this distance. How far have you gone? Okay. So what I'm essentially figuring out is whenever we're solving a percent of problem, okay, the percent of, you need to find the part of the whole. So write those things down. Okay, sorry, that was crappy handwriting. Okay, so remember the part is the percent, so the part's going to be 40%, okay, of the whole, and the whole is 90 miles, okay? Okay, and then I just execute my procedure. Divide the percent by 100 so it becomes a decimal. So I take 40 divided by 100. Okay, and now I multiply by your whole, so times 90. You have gone less than halfway. Anything under 50% is less than half, so 0.4 times 90 is 36. 36. Now it's 90 miles, okay, 90 miles, so it's going to be 36 miles would be the label, okay? 36 out of 90 is 40%. Okay, at a store promotion, 150 free televisions were to be given away during the first 15 minutes after the store opened on the first day. 30% of the televisions, okay, were given away. How many televisions was that, and how many were left for the following days? Okay, percent of. So, part of whole. So my percentage is the part, that's 30%. Now, you might read that problem and get confused what the whole is. Well, it says of the televisions. So you got to find how many televisions there were. Well, 15 is not how many televisions we had. So I don't care about that, but I do have another number in here, 150, and that's 150 free televisions. So it's of the 150. Okay, so execute your strategy. Divide your percent by 100 so it becomes a decimal. And then multiply by your whole. So times 150. And I got 45. Okay, 45. Okay, so it's 150 televisions, so it's 45 televisions. That's your first answer. Now, there's two questions. We have this question, and that's the answer to that. Now, we also have this question. How many were left for the following days? So what we do is we take our whole 150, and we're going to subtract the part 45. So 150 minus 45 is 105. So that's 105 televisions. Okay.